Welcome to Hollywood Graveyard, where we set out to remember and celebrate the lives of those who lived to entertain us by visiting their final resting places. Today we're exploring Eden Memorial Park, where we'll find such stars as Groucho Marx, Lenny Bruce, Mitzi Green, and many more. Join us, won't you? Eden Memorial Park is a Jewish cemetery located in the northern end of the San Fernando Valley in Mission Hills. As we've seen in past tours, it's common to see Christian and Jewish cemeteries side by side here in Southern California. Eden is right across the street from San Fernando Mission Cemetery, which we visited earlier this year. It's a medium-sized cemetery at around 60 acres. The first funeral was held here in 1961, and Eden has supported the local Jewish community ever since. We'll begin our tour just in from the entrance on the left, in the Akiba section. Halfway into this lawn, a few rows up from the fence, is the grave of John Brown. He was the second of 4 actors to portray neighbor Harry Morton on the George Burns and Gracie Allen show in the 50s. He also had a recurring role on the radio and TV series The Life of Riley as Digger Odell. On film, he can be seen in Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train and the B-movie Robot Monster. In 1952, Brown became a victim of the Hollywood blacklist and died of a heart attack a few years later. Back to the road, we turn right at the intersection and find the Isaiah section on the right. Most of the way to the fence is the grave of Kurt Katch. He was a Polish actor who fled Europe in the 30s at the rise of the Nazi Party. He arrived in Hollywood and became a popular screen villain, seen in films like Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves and The Mummy's Curse. Back to the main road, then right at the next intersection, we find the Court of Tribes mausoleum on the left. Following the main sidewalk, then left at the mosaic, then right, we find a small columbarium. In the middle of the far wall is the final resting place of legendary comedian Groucho Marx, his niche flanked by cigars and Groucho masks. Perhaps the most recognizable of the Marx brothers, with his grease paint mustache, glasses, and cigar, Julius Groucho Marx began performing on stage with his brothers Harpo, Chico, Gummo, and Zeppo. They found success on vaudeville and Broadway with their zany comedic performances. As the brothers' stars rose, Groucho quickly cemented himself as one of the masters of quick wit on stage and in Hollywood, famous for his wisecracks and double entendre one-liners. The brothers made a number of films together, many of which are still considered among the greatest comedies ever made, like A Night at the Opera and Duck Soup.
Not that I care, but where is your husband?
Why, he's dead.
I'll bet he's just using that as an excuse.
I was with him till the very end.
No wonder he passed away.
I held him in my arms and kissed him.
Oh, I see. Then it was murder. Will you marry me? Did he leave you any money? Answer the second question first.
He left me his entire fortune.
Is that so? Can't you see what I'm trying to tell you? I love you.
Oh, Your Excellency.
You're not so bad yourself.
Later in life, Groucho found success as the host of the radio and TV quiz show You Bet Your Life. Before his death, Groucho famously quipped, "I wish to be cremated. 1/10 of my ashes shall be given to my agent, as written in our contract." After his death at age 86, he was cremated, and though a portion of his ashes didn't go to his agent, they did go on an unexpected journey. In 1982, 5 years after his death, the urn containing Groucho's ashes was stolen from here and left without explanation at Mount Sinai Cemetery, several miles south. It was promptly returned and replaced here. Just above and to the left is the niche of actress Bunny Summers. On stage, she played the mother of the Marx brothers in the musical Minnie's Boys, a role originated by Shelley Winters. She made her TV debut on Petticoat Junction and can be seen in a number of other shows, including The Doris Day Show and The Facts of Life. On the wall to the left, above eye level, is songwriter and composer Buck Ram. He was one of BMI's top songwriters, known for his association with the Platters. He wrote many of their biggest hits, including The Great Pretender, Twilight Time, and Only You.
Only you can make all this world seem right. Only you can make the darkness bright.
He also co-wrote the song I'll Be Home for Christmas. Back to the road, we continue east to Judea East and the Garden of Love. Here is Mitzi Green. She was a child star of the early talkies known as Little Mitzi, seen in films like Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, and Little Orphan Annie. On Broadway, she starred in the original production of Babes in Arms, originating the song My Funny Valentine. Later in her career, she starred in the TV sitcom So This Is Hollywood. She was only 48 when she died of cancer. Let's continue around to the north. On the left, we find Mount Nebo section. A few rows down from the road and the sign is acerbic funny man, Lenny Bruce. He's best known for his edgy, controversial stand-up comedy and social satire, unafraid to ruffle feathers with his unfiltered routines on politics, religion, and sex. He was arrested and convicted of obscenity in the 60s, making him a symbol of the era for freedom of speech and expression. Lenny Bruce paved the way for future outspoken counterculture comedians like Richard Pryor and George Carlin. He died of a drug overdose at the age of 40. Decades after his death, the governor of New York granted him a posthumous pardon of the obscenity conviction. Straight west is Mount Hagiborim. Most of the way to the edge, we find Vic Mizzy. If a 60s TV show opened with a catchy tune you just couldn't get out of your head, it may very well have been written by Vic Mizzy. He began his career writing songs for artists like Doris Day and the Andrews Sisters, but today he's perhaps best remembered for those catchy opening tunes for shows including Green Acres,
Green Acres is the place to be.
and one of my favorites, The Addams Family.
So get a witch's shawl on, a broomstick you can crawl on. We're gonna pay a call on the Addams Family.
He also wrote scores for films including The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. The Whole World is Singing My Song is the title of one of his songs.
The whole world is singing my song, but I sing it only to you.
Back across the street to the east is Mount of Olives west. A few spaces right of a tree is Larry D. Mann. He was a Canadian-born character actor who made guest appearances on many of the great TV shows of the 60s through the 80s. Shows like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Bewitched, Green Acres, and Hill Street Blues. He's perhaps best remembered today as the voice of Yukon Cornelius in the beloved Christmas classic, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Who are you?
Who am I? The name's Yukon Cornelius, the greatest prospector in the North. This is my land, and you know, it's rich with gold.
The next section north is Mount Jerusalem. Right of the sidewalk, just under a tree, is Phil Foster. Fans of Laverne and Shirley will remember him as Frank on over 100 episodes of the popular 70s and 80s sitcom. He can also be seen in films like The Happy Hooker Goes to Washington. Just north of Phil is Harvey Lembeck. He was a regular in the beach and bikini comedies of the 60s as inept motorcycle gang leader Eric Von Zipper, a role he played 6 times. And on television he played Corporal Rocco Barbella on The Phil Silvers Show. One of his more notable performances was on both stage and screen productions of Stalag 17. He died of a heart attack at just 58. Back to the road, we turn right at Mount Shalom Drive and find Mount of Olives East on the right. Under the tree is Marty Allen. He was a comedic entertainer and one half of Allen and Rossi with Steve Rossi. The duo played Vegas, toured the country, and recorded a number of popular comedy albums together. They even made a film, The Last of the Secret Agents, in 1966. Allen was also a regular panelist on Hollywood Squares, and gave much of his time to entertain troops in hospitals who had returned from fighting in Vietnam. As of filming, his marker is temporary. Straight across the street east is Mount Shalom. Not far from a small tree and bench is Bert Gordon, known as the Mad Russian, a character that would become immensely popular on the radio on shows like The Eddie Cantor Show. His distinctive introduction, "How do you do?" became a part of popular vernacular in the 40s, and he was often parodied by others like Abbott and Costello and even the Looney Tunes. In 1945, he made a film titled How Do You Do? Let's continue north, past the mausoleum, then left, to find the Court of Prophets on the left. Here we find Catya Sassoon, the daughter of hairstylist Vidal Sassoon and actress Beverly Adams. She began her career as a model at the tender age of 14, dropping out of school and quickly becoming a top teen model. Catya grew up fast, married and experimenting with drugs before the age of 16. Her modeling career was a springboard into the movies, her debut being in the 1985 film Tough Turf, alongside James Spader and Robert Downey Jr. She died of a heart attack triggered by drug use at just 33. Doubling back, then left, we find the Court of Abraham North on the right. Right of the sidewalk, we find Michael Gilden. He was an actor with a form of dwarfism, standing 4'6" as an adult. He played an Ewok in Return of the Jedi, and had roles in other productions like Tarantino's Pulp Fiction, and TV shows including Charmed and CSI. He took his own life by hanging at the age of 44. A scene tragically reminiscent of his role in CSI. He was married to actress Meredith Eaton at the time, with whom he had acted a number of times, including in that episode of CSI. Further in this section, just right of the sidewalk, is Brad Morrow, real name Brady or Bradley Mora. He was a child actor discovered at the age of 2 by MGM. He began performing in film and television in the 50s, films like Cause for Alarm alongside Loretta Young. At Disney, he was a Mouseketeer before being cast in the Spin and Marty miniseries. And as an adult, he performed in touring productions of West Side Story and The Diary of Anne Frank. He died of cancer at the age of 55. Finally, we follow the road around to the west to the Mount Ephraim section on the right. If we follow this sidewalk all the way to the end, then cross the lawn to the far side, right up to the fence, we find the grave of Morton Heilig. He was a filmmaker and inventor known as the father of virtual reality. In the 1950s, Heilig envisioned a more multi-sensory 3D experience as the future of cinema. In 1957, he began building the Sensorama machine, which gave its viewers not only a 3D view, but also included stereo sound, a vibrating seat, wind blowing in their face, and even smells from what was seen. It was impressive technology for the time, but unable to procure funding, the Sensorama never really took off. Over the years, Heilig continued to innovate products and the process of VR, 3D filmmaking, and multi-sensory theater experiences seen at Disney and elsewhere. And that concludes our tour. What are some of your favorite memories of the stars we visited today? Share them in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more famous grave tours. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Beware of Coyote, huh? I wonder which Coyote they mean. Wile E. Coyote? Coyote Peterson? Coyote Shivers, maybe? Better keep an eye out for all three.